Hi guys, in this video I will show you how you can fine-tune a BERT model to perform spam classification, whether a message is a spam or not. I have used the Hugging Face library and PyTorch in this tutorial, so I am assuming you have some idea about how a model is defined and trained in PyTorch. So let's get started. I have implemented this code in Colab, so the first thing that one should check is the runtime, and go to change runtime type and make sure that GPU is activated. Alright, because we'll be using GPU to train or fine tune this model. Moving on, the first thing that we'll do, we'll install the transformers library by Hugging Face. So it will take a while. Okay, so the transformer library has been installed. Now I will quickly import these other libraries and modules that I'll use in this tutorial. Now let's load the dataset. It's not a big dataset, just over 5000 observations, and the labels are 0 and 1. Let's check out the class distribution of the labels. Okay, so 0, which is non-spam, is 86%, and the class 1, which is spam, is 13%. So we can see a clear imbalance in our class distribution in this dataset. Next, I will split the dataset, this df, into train, validation and test sets. Okay, so over here, first of all, I am extracting the train dataset. Okay, train text and train labels separately, and this thing, temp text and temp labels, are nothing but temporary dataset that I will use to create validation set, this one, and the test set, this one, and test labels. I will use the train set and the validation set for fine-tuning the BERT model, and once it is done, we will use the fine-tuned model to make predictions on the test set. Now here I will import the pre-trained BERT model and the BERT tokenizer. It's a pretty large model. It has close to 115 million parameters, and its size is around 440 MB. You can see over here. And this BERT tokenizer fast, it will not only tokenize the text in our dataset, but will also convert the tokens into list of integers. Let me show you how it works. So let's say this is our dataset of 2 sentences. The first sentence is, this is a BERT model tutorial. The second sentence is, we will fine tune a BERT model. Alright, now I will apply the BERT tokenizer on this sample data. The output of this batch encode plus will give you a dictionary of 2 items. The first item is the input IDs. These are basically list of tokens which have been converted into integers. So this list is for the first sequence, that is this sentence, and this list is for the second sentence. Okay, now moving on, the second item is this attention mask. So you can see that most of the values are 1, and we have just 1 0 over here. So this is for the sentence 1, and for sentence 2 all the values are 1. It is because the length of the sentence 1 is different from the sentence 2. In fact, it is shorter than the second sentence. Alright, so therefore this encoding not only converts your tokens into integers, but it will also take care of the padding. So this integer 0 over here represents the padding token, and the attention mask over here is 0. It is because it will tell the model, the BERT model, to not focus on this particular word, which is nothing but the pad token. Now let's encode the entire dataset, all the sequences. But before that, I would like to check the average length, or what is the distribution of length of all my sequences. So we can use this code cell, and it will plot the sequence length for all the sequences in the dataset. So as you can see, most of the sequences have length 25 tokens or less than that. So I'll set my maximum sequence length to 25. I will use this maximum length of 25 as my padding length. So all the sequences will be padded to the length of 25 by the tokenizer. Over here I am using batch encode plus again to encode the sequences in the train set, validation set and the test set. And you can see that I have set the max length parameter equal to the maximum sequence length, which is nothing but 25, and I have also set pad to max length parameter to true. Okay. Now we will convert the list of input IDs and the attention masks to PyTorch tensors. So that's pretty easy. All you have to do is use torch.tensor, and along with sequences and attention mask, we are also converting the labels to a PyTorch tensor. Since we'll be passing the batches of tensors as inputs, therefore we have to define the data loaders for both the train set and the validation set. And these three lines define the data loader for the train set. Similarly, I can define data loader for the validation set as well. Now over here I am freezing all the parameters of the pre-trained BERT model, and over here I am defining my model architecture. So these are the components, layers and activation functions that I will use in this model. And over here I am using the BERT model. I will use the second output of this BERT model or BERT layer, and over here you can see that I have added a fully connected layer followed by a ReLU activation function, which is followed by a dropout layer, and finally there is another fully connected layer on which I have applied softmax. So this is the model architecture, and we will fine tune the weights of these two layers. The weights of the BERT model will remain unchanged. There is one more important thing that I want to tell. You see this number 768? This is the input dimensions of this layer. And why we have set it to 768? Why not any other number? This is because the output of the pre-trained BERT model is a vector of length 768. Okay, and the output dimensions number 512, it is specified by the user. Okay, so it's a kind of a hyperparameter, and you can change it to any other number as well. Change it to 256, you can change it to 128. Moving on, here I will instantiate this architecture of BERT and pass this model to GPU. Now since the distribution of classes in our dataset is imbalanced, right, here I will compute the class weights with the help of sklearn's compute class weight. Okay, I'll use this function and I'll compute the classes for my labels in the train set. So let me execute it. There you go. These are the class weights for the labels in the train set. Now we can directly use these weights, okay, these class weights, in the PyTorch loss function, this one, and you can see that I have used the weights. So the benefit of doing this is it will help in taking care of the class imbalance problem that we have in our dataset. Over here I have specified the optimizer that I will use to train or fine-tune the model. So here I have used AdamW optimizer. You can think of it as a better version of the Adam optimizer. And one more thing, the learning rate, I have set it to 10 to the power minus 3. Now coming on to the main part. So here is the function that will be used to train the model or fine-tune the model. Here batches of input data will be fetched with the help of this data loader, train underscore data loader, and passed to the model. Here the output or the predictions of the model on the train batch are compared with the actual labels, okay, and so the loss is calculated, and then this loss is added to the total loss. Total loss means loss of all the batches, and this code will initiate the backward pass, and the step function will update the weights and other parameters of the entire model, and finally this train function will give out two outputs. One is average loss and the other one is predictions. Similarly, we have another function evaluate, which will be used to evaluate the model on the validation set. Here the validation data loader has been used, as you can see, so it will help us in fetching the batches from the validation set. Rest of the things are pretty much similar to the above function, except the thing that we won't use the backward pass and we won't update any parameters, because over here we are simply evaluating the performance of our model on an unseen data set, and this function will also return average loss and the predictions. I guess we have everything that we need to train this model. I'll train the model for 10 epochs, and this thing best underscore valid underscore loss, I've set it to infinite. It will be used to store the lowest validation loss during this entire training process, and the model weights corresponding to this loss will be saved automatically. So you can see over here, if the validation loss, okay, for the current epoch is less than this value, then the model weights at that point in time will be saved, and this thing will also be updated, best validation loss. So model training will take a while. I'll fast forward it. So model training is done, and if we check out the validation loss, so by the end of the 10th epoch, the model has achieved the best validation loss, which is 0.13, and as you can see, it was still decreasing, so we could have trained this model for a few more epochs. We'll now use it to make predictions on the test set. So before making predictions, we will load the best weights, which you can easily do by executing this code cell. Now I'll pass the tensors text underscore sequence and text underscore mask to the model, and I'll get the predictions. Since the activation function at the last layer was softmax, so therefore we will use argmax over here. So it will give you the index of the largest number, and this is the classification report from sklearn. So it will tell you about the precision, recall, F1 score, things like that. So let's check out the performance of this model. If you look at for the class 0, both precision and recall are pretty high. Class 0 was the majority class, but we were more considered about the minority class, that is spam messages, or class 1. And if you see, the precision is pretty good, and the recall as well. So this model has done a pretty good job on a very small data set of just 5,000 observations, and this is, I think, the best performance I have seen on that data set till now. And the combined F1 score for this for both the classes is 0.94, which is pretty good. And this is the confusion matrix for the test data. You can see that the model has been able to classify both the classes pretty accurately. So guys, that's it for this video. If you want to learn more about BERT and how to fine-tune BERT, you can check out my article given below, and I have also added the GitHub repo from where you can download this dataset. Okay, thanks for watching. Take care.